Lately, there has been a rapid dissemination of news across the internet suggesting that China is on the brink of collapse. Speculations abound, with claims that the Chinese property market is on the verge of bursting, spelling doom for the country's economy. The familiar refrain echoes. Whenever Chinese economic data falls short of expectations, concerns about the nation's development prospects resurface. However, has China truly reached the point of collapse? If you anticipate China's demise, you might find yourself disappointed. This video aims to elucidate why China is not on the verge of collapse. Contrary to the prevailing narrative, China's economy is experiencing robust growth, with a 5.2% expansion in GDP recorded in 2023. To dispel genuine concerns and counter unsubstantiated arguments, we will present facts and figures in this video. Before delving further, we strongly encourage you to subscribe to our channel for more insightful content. Now let's delve into the reasons why China is not about to collapse anytime soon. China's property crisis. If you've been keeping up with the news, you've probably heard about China's property market issues. Many experts are saying that China's real estate business is on the verge of falling apart and might bring down the whole economy. Big property companies like Evergrande and Country Garden are struggling to repay loans and are close to collapsing. In fact, Evergrande, one of the biggest property developers in China, has declared bankruptcy and was told to close down. Surprisingly, the Chinese government saw this coming. As far back as 2016, President Xi Jinping said that houses should be for living in, not for speculating and making money. Since then, China's top leaders have been using this idea when they started making stricter rules for the property market. This means that as early as 2016, China was already aware of its real estate problems. In fact, it was the Chinese government that intentionally deflated the property bubble. China's efforts to stop property developers from borrowing too much money have caused some of them to struggle, increasing the risk of problems spreading across the economy. As the saying goes, pop the bubble when it is still manageable. Despite putting in many new rules to improve the situation, China's property sector is not about to collapse because it has enough policy space in place to boost its economy. To begin with, as highlighted by Wei Jianshan, a highly influential figure in Asian private equity, China is not grappling with inflation pressures. Its consumer price index remains stable, and the producer price index consistently shows negative figures. In contrast to many developed countries, China is not experiencing inflation. Presently, China's interest rate is at 3.45%. If the Chinese government wishes to boost its property sector, it has the option to lower the interest rate, making loans more accessible. Secondly, China boasts one of the highest bank reserve requirement ratios. This ratio represents the percentage of deposits that banks must retain with the central bank. In many Western economies, this ratio has been low or even zero. China maintains a bank reserve ratio of 7%, implying that if the government sees fit, it can decrease this ratio. This would prompt banks to release more money into the market, providing an additional stimulus to the economy. Thirdly, the average loan-to-value ratios for mortgages in China are relatively low, indicating the proportion of the home loan amount to the property's value. In the second quarter of 2023, first-tier cities had an average ratio of 44.5%, while second-tier cities had 60.2%. These numbers imply that housing prices would need to drop by more than half to put homeowners in a situation of negative equity, where the value of their house is less than the money they owe. For example, if you purchase a 1 million yuan house in Beijing, you would need to pay at least 600,000 yuan in cash, with a 40% loan. Experiencing negative equity would require the value of your million yuan house to fall by more than half, which is highly unlikely. Additionally, unlike in the United States where homeowners can simply abandon their mortgages, Chinese homeowners, as well as those in Hong Kong and Australia, bear unlimited personal liabilities for their mortgages. This is why, during the 1997 Asian financial crisis, there was a significant amount of negative equity in Hong Kong's housing sector, but no banks faced failure. China's property sector may experience a slowdown and price readjustment, but we do not anticipate a collapse in the Chinese real estate market for now. After going through all these facts and figures, do you still think that China's property market will collapse? Leave your comments below and let us know. China's financial stability. How much debt does the Chinese government carry? Not much at all. The ratio of central government debt to GDP is a mere 21%, the lowest among major global economies. Even when factoring in all local government debts, including hidden liabilities, China's overall general government debt is estimated to be around 110% of GDP, as per the International Monetary Fund. In comparison, the US public debt ratio hovers around 140%, and Japan's is an astonishing 260%. This places China in a favorable position with a relatively low government debt ratio. Moreover, financial well-being isn't solely about liabilities. Assets play a crucial role. Consider someone taking a loan to buy a home. They may have more debt than a renter, but the homeowner could be wealthier due to owning an asset. The same logic applies to nations, necessitating consideration of both liabilities and assets. What distinguishes China from other major economies is its extensive ownership of state-owned enterprise, or SOE, assets. Statistics reveal that the net asset value of SOEs is about 70% of GDP. The median price-to-book ratio for listed central SOEs, indicating the market value to net asset value ratio, is 1.3 times, considerably lower than the 5.4 times ratio for private enterprises. Despite the modest ratio, the market equity value of SOEs constitutes over 90% of GDP. If calculated at twice the net asset value, it would be 140%. Consequently, the ratio of the government's total debts minus the market equity value of SOEs to GDP is notably low and may even be negative. Additionally, all of China's natural resources, such as land, minerals, rivers, forests, mountains, grasslands, and more, are state-owned, representing a massive asset. In contrast, countries like the US and Japan possess minimal state-owned equity, with most resources held privately. The government's controllable portion is relatively small. In summary, China's fiscal condition is significantly healthier than that of other major economies. China's prospects for future growth. While it's true that the property sector has been a major challenge for China's economy, there are signs that its impact might be easing. The negative contribution of the property sector to GDP growth has decreased from around 4% in 2022 to less than 2% in 2023. Even though the property sector may be slowing down, other industries like green energy are on the rise. In fact, China is a global leader in industries related to and driven by the Fourth Industrial Revolution, such as green energy, digitalization, industrial robots, artificial intelligence, and more. China has outpaced Japan to become the largest exporter of cars, with a quarter of them being electric vehicles. In lithium batteries, a crucial component for electric vehicles, mobile phones, and other industries, China has gone from having 0% of the global market in 2005 to a substantial 63% today. Therefore, it's not accurate to say that China is collapsing. Rather, it's undergoing an economic transition. The country is moving away from low-end, labor-intensive manufacturing towards higher-tech, comprehensive product manufacturing. The transformation of the supply chain that we are witnessing is a natural progression in international trade and commerce. We believe that China can successfully navigate this period, much like many other countries have in modern history. Now, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you believe China's economy is headed for collapse soon? Or do you have confidence in its resilience to overcome these challenges and make a comeback? Share your opinions and drop your comments below. If you enjoyed this video, express your support by giving it a thumbs up. Most importantly, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more engaging videos like this in the future. Your ongoing support means a lot.